We speak to Matt Canavan, and the National Senator joins us now. There's a bit going on this morning to get to. Matt, good morning to you. But first of all, let's start with this news that Cam just suggested then about Japan being brought into AUKUS but without formal induction into the alliance. So there won't be a J in the acronym, so to speak. Are you happy with Japan being brought in, though, being brought in under the tent?
Well, look, Japan's a great friend of Australia's, and I think given what's going on in the region, it would be great to see Japan take a leadership role in maintaining peace through the Asia-Pacific region. So, look, that's what, in my view, AUKUS is all about. It's about trying to make sure that we don't see violent conflict emerge from the diplomatic conflict that clearly exists in the region around borders, disputes over territories, islands, etc. And so I think having Japan in the tent would be a great idea. Look, I'll leave the formalities to others about whether it's going to be JAUKUS or AUKUS plus J or whatever, but any more cooperation with a great friend like Japan is a positive for our country.
OK, let's get on to the supermarkets review that was handed down yesterday. There's a bit more to come on this, but there seems to be some different positions when it comes to divestiture. So in your view, should the big players be broken up?
Well, I think we should have a big stick in our competition laws to deter the kind of behaviour we have seen from our big supermarket chains in recent years. These laws exist in the UK, in the US, in Europe. It doesn't seem to be any reason why we shouldn't have the same sort of powers here. Now, that doesn't mean they'd be split up per se. It just means that there would be a severe penalty in place in case the severe anti-competitive conduct continues.
So no breakup?
Well, I don't think you'd break up on day one, right? Like, that's not the intent of either Nick McKim's bill that's in the Parliament or the position I've had for more than a decade now in Parliament. I've been calling for this for a long period of time, that what you'd have is a penalty in place. Right. So if a large corporation, and it's not just about supermarkets, we obviously have competition issues in airlines, in our energy sector, in our banking sector as well. It's, I think, an economic problem that this country faces, that we have far too market concentration. We don't have the same strict competition laws that other countries have. Maybe that's a reason why we're not getting the better outcomes like other countries in these sectors. So that penalty would only be there in the case that there are breaches of the competition law.
So on the whole, did you support Emerson's review yesterday with the big stick being the big fines?
Look, I don't think it's much of a impact for the big supermarkets, and therefore won't have much of a change. I mean, the fines that Mr Emerson are suggesting at 10% of turnover possibly are actually lower than exists under the competition laws we already have. They can be fined up to 30% of their turnover during a period where their anti-competitive conduct is maintained. So, I hardly think a third of the fines they already face right now is going to be all that severe for them. On top of that, it actually seems like a big win for Coles and Woolworths, Emerson's review, because all he does is say we should make the code mandatory and potentially force in other competitors to Coles and Woolworths, like Costco, like Aldi and others, because Coles and Woolworths are already signatories to the Code of Conduct. So there's no extra obligations imposed on themselves. It seems to me that the whole purpose of the Craig Emerson review was to give Coles and Woolworths a free ride, while the government engages in some distracting rhetoric as if they are actually taking this issue seriously.
There is a report in The Australian this morning suggesting that David Littleproud, as leader of the Nationals, is losing support in shadow cabinet. Do you see his role? Do you think his role has been diminished?
Oh, look, I don't see that. I mean, I'm obviously not in shadow cabinet, so I've got no idea what goes on in there. And I've always said, Peter, I don't really care who leads the party. I just want to see good policies adopted. And look, obviously I have my disagreements with David and the other leaders about issues like net zero emissions. I think it's absurd and mad that we're going down this path. It's costing our country billions and jobs and economic security. And so I'll keep fighting those battles. And I don't really care who leads the party, so to speak. I want to see results for Australians.
Right, I know, but is he being outplayed or outmanoeuvred by Peter Dutton in the coalition in those kinds of terms?
Well, look, again, I just don't care. I mean, I want the results. And obviously I'm pushing here for an outcome on supermarkets. I want to see stricter competition laws. I know David supported that. The Nationals Party have had this position to support divestiture powers for a long period of time. I'll just do anything to help that fight. That's what I want to see happen because, as I say, the rest of the world has these powers. It works well over there. We should too.
Matt, we'll leave it there. Good to see you. Matt Canavan, live for us in your poo.